Hi guys, here we go again. Donald Trump was asked a second time if he's willing to send American citizens to a Gulag in El Salvador, and he said yes. So Trump was hosting the President of El Salvador, where the main theme of the meeting was the current agreement between the two countries. That is, we send you people we don't like, and you lock them up in one of the harshest prisons in the world. Trump wants his supporters to believe that when it comes to American citizens, only really bad ones will be shipped off to El Salvador. But there's a problem with that.
You mentioned that you're open to deporting individuals that aren't foreign aliens but are criminals to El Salvador. Does that include potentially U.S. citizens, fully naturalized Americans?
If they're criminals and if they hit people with baseball bats over their head that happen to be 90 years old, and if they rape 87-year-old women in Coney Island, Brooklyn, yeah, that includes them. Why do you think there's a special category of person?
Okay, so first of all, there's a problem with this. There are two problems. First of all, prison is supposed to be a place to rehabilitate people, to reform them, to return them to society as close as possible to an ideal citizen. Close as possible. Not always the case, but as close as possible. I think that's one aspect of prison. You know, we generally hope that it's not some sort of modern-day version of an oubliette, but it's a way to return people who have served their time, served their punishment, received their punishment, served their time, and they're returned to society. And we hope that they have learned their ways and will improve. It doesn't always work, but that's the general gist of it. That's the general goal. The other problem with this is that Donald Trump is already sending people to El Salvador who have not committed any crimes. The recent case of a guy called Garcia who was sent by mistake by the Trump administration. The Trump administration admitted that they deported this guy by mistake. And now they're refusing to take him back. They said, yeah, we sent him by mistake, but we're not going to take him back. He's not our problem anymore. So that's one angle of it. So when Donald Trump says we'd only send people who beat somebody over the head with a baseball bat or do something worse, he's of course not telling the truth. You know, they said at the beginning they would only deport people who are violent criminals. But they've already sent people who have not committed any crime. So what makes you think that Donald Trump, if he was to extend it to US citizens, would limit it to the two examples that he gave here? Of course he wouldn't. Of course the administration would look for enemies of the administration and say, well, these people have to go. Maybe based on some trumped up charges, we can do it. And on the same day, Stephen Miller, a representative of Donald Trump's administration, claimed that they had won the Supreme Court ruling, which was actually against them. So these people have sent people to El Salvador who have not committed any crime, even though they said they would limit it to violent criminals, foreign violent criminals. And now Donald Trump wants to extend this to American citizens that he doesn't like, or he claims, well, these are terrible people that shouldn't be in the country. Let's get rid of them, send them off to this gulag so they can be forgotten about. This is not what the president should be saying. This is not a civilized society's goal. This is not what you see in a civilized society. The idea of we just take people who have not received due process and send them off to a gulag somewhere else in the world. I don't know what else to say about that.